a new band of rebels arose who were determined to carry the fight to Jerusalem.
The SICARRI.
To the SICARRI, anyone who wasn't fighting the Romans was a collaborator and worthy of death.
Many were slain every day, and the fear men were in was worse than the calamity itself.
Alright, first and foremost, I give all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world intimately calls Christ, Yahushai. His brother Chief Priest Alazar Benoya, aka the Guerrilla Hebrew. Alright, and I'm coming at y'all with this video. I was on Facebook earlier, and due to certain likes I have on Facebook, being damn near, a wrestling fan since a kid, I get certain, I like, of course, certain pages, and then, this prompts certain things to pop up on my timeline. So something popped up on my timeline about the Anoa'i family, okay, quote-unquote legendary, predominantly Polynesian professional wrestling family that many people are attributed to, even though certain people who are attributed to the family are not, in fact, relatives of the family. The Rock being one of them. All right, everybody knows The Rock. Dwayne Johnson, arguably one of the most famous wrestlers of all time, right up there with your Hulk Hogan's and your Stone Cold Steve Austin's. Anyway, so I had clicked on it and I was going through it, and I read something interesting in regards to The Rock, okay, because this guy Rocky Johnson, which is The Rock's actual father, a so-called black man, which makes him a Hebrew Israelite of the tribe of Judah, is accredited with being a member of the Anoa'i family, but of course is not a member, being he's black, he's not Polynesian at all. But I read an interesting fact on there, and they also have it here on his Wikipedia. Where is it at? Peter Maivia, which is actually his wife's stepfather. So he wasn't, Rock's not even blood related to the Maivias. All right, that's his step-grandfather. But Maivia disapproved of the relationship. And it says, allegedly, not because anything personal against Johnson, but because of Johnson's chosen profession. Basically, he's alleging that the reason why he disapproved of the relationship had to do with the fact that The Rock's father, Rocky Johnson, was a wrestler, as opposed to him being black, allegedly. They could, play the game, but we're going to just kind of analyze everything for what it is. And as we analyze it, we're going to see that the powers that be within the WWE, as well as the Anoa'i family, have gone out of their way to try to erase The Rock's blackness. All right, and when I'm reading on this page, it's so crazy because the spirit kind of just got on me just to get on Rocky Johnson's Wikipedia page, because when you get on this Wikipedia page, you start to find out all these very interesting facts and accomplishments that this man has done that never get mentioned with The Rock. The only thing that gets mentioned is his quote-unquote Samoan side of his family, which that's not even his family. Again, he is the step-grandson of a man who was considered family by the Anoa'i family, but the Maivias are not actually related to the Anoa'is. All right, which is customary amongst the Polynesians. The Polynesians are very inclusive a lot of times with their family, and they refer to people as their family who they have no blood relation to oftentimes. Throughout high school, I dated a few Polynesian women, so I'm familiar, but I'm also familiar with their families' usually strict disapproval of their unions with so-called black men. All right, a lot of Polynesian girls I dated definitely disapproved of them dating me. Their families disapproved of them dating me. That started many conflicts throughout high school. But I'll definitely say this, that a lot of these Polynesian girls, when they're in high school and they're around us so-called black men, they have a thing for us, but then eventually as they grow older, they end up marrying their own for their family's approval, so on and so forth. Sometimes, though, they will marry us, in the case of Rocky Johnson. All right, but it's funny because when if you look at The Rock and how he debuted in the WWE, or as it was known in the WWF, He came under the gimmick of Rocky Maivia, taking his father's first name and his step-grandfather's last name. But he came out with a Samoan gimmick. He was dressed in a Polynesian-themed garb, and that's how he was marketed. But the fans rejected him, hated him. They began to chant, "Die, Rocky, die." Then he began to build himself as he came back. And when he came back, he became as a black-themed wrestler in the Nation of Domination, where it was like a Black Panther spoof wrestling stable. All right? Then he became, of course, The Rock, the People's Champ, the corporate, and as he embraced and embraced and started to be himself a black man, that's when people actually started to like him, and that's what shot him into the stardom that he has now, not being Samoan. But yet and still, they still try to bury his black side, and they still attempt, to just overshadow all the great accomplishments of his father, which I believe far exceed that of his actual so-called grandfather, any of them, in no eyes. He's the most accomplished person accredited to that family, and the second most would definitely be his father, especially when we take a look at his accomplishments, which we're going to in a minute. But I want to read a little bit of this here on Rocky Johnson's Wikipedia page, because this man got a beautiful history, man. All right, that never gets talked about. So we're going to talk about it here. Okay, it says, and by the way, The Rock is the only so-called black man to ever hold the WWE Championship. They created a title called the World Heavyweight Championship, which was basically just a continuation of the WCW title, which Booker T had and Mark Henry had. Before that, Booker T had it several times, as well as Ron Simmons, aka Farouk, had also had it. But their principal title in the company is the WWE Championship, which The Rock, again, is the only black man to hold it, and much controversy has been stirred up even in regards to that, being that some people don't consider him black because he's mixed, or because he's been marketed or promoted more so as a Polynesian than a black man. People don't take a look at it legitimately, which can be argued. Just a side note, I heard Jim Cornette, who's been around the business for a long time, make some arguments about black champions and black champions that pre-existed even Ron Simmons, going back to the 70s and 80s and things like that in the NWA days. I mean, it's a lot. I don't want to bore y'all with too much wrestling talk. You know what I mean? But there was a few black champions, i.e. Bearcat Wright, and things like that. And in my opinion, I believe that there were 2 to 3 in particular individuals that I believe were on track to become black WWE champions, but for one reason or another, they departed from the company. So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's neither here nor there. Let's get back on topic with Rocky Johnson. And of course, nothing negates the fact that the black talent and the black charisma that has existed within the wrestling organization has never been given its just due, and has never got its chances, and has never been able to hold and be the top guys in these companies, except a very select few, The Rock being the principal of the few that were able to. But let's take a look. It says he was Georgia champion, Southern heavyweight champion in Memphis, won many other championships, partnered with Tony Atlas to become the first black tag team to win the World Tag Team Champions in the WWF. They never talk about that in reference to The Rock, his father's great accomplishment. Never! That needs to be talked about. Let's continue on. Rocky Johnson was born Wade Douglas Bowles in Amherst, Nova Scotia, where he was raised the 4th of 5 sons of Lillian and James Henry Bowles, a black Nova Scotian. So if anybody don't know about, there's a video I did a couple years ago called Black Ice. And if you look up that video, Black Ice, it talks about the black Nova Scotians. Okay, and the black Nova Scotians were pioneering and making exciting the sport of hockey, the sport that our brothers of the North American Indian, or the tribe of Gad, actually invented, that the white man is now took over. But we're starting to creep back in there. So this black Nova Scotian athletic history is immense, and it's powerful, and it's a part of black history that nobody ever talks about. So this definitely needs to be brought up when the conversation of The Rock and the lineage that he comes from, because the actual lineage he comes from is that of Rocky Johnson, that of a black Nova Scotian. Let's read about the black Nova Scotians. A black Nova Scotian, he is descended from black loyalists who who immigrated to Nova Scotia after escaping from a southern plantation in the United States after the American Revolutionary War. Why is this not brought up? that the Rock's lineage is that of those who escaped slavery, came to Nova Scotia, and began to build a family and become great athletes, professional wrestlers, and etc. That overshadows far more what any of them goddamn Samoans have ever contributed to any goddamn thing. So why isn't that being brought up? It's an outrage. But through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, we're going to bring it up, and we're going to give the black man his just due. Because God is a black man. Jesus Christ is a black man. And his people are the black, Hispanic, and Native American people. And it's about time that we get our just due, and we're going to get our just due when we set up as rulers over this earth under who the world calls Christ Yahushua. All right? At the age of 16, Johnson moved to Toronto, Ontario, where he began wrestling and worked as a truck driver. Initially, he trained to be a boxer and eventually sparred with such greats as Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. But he was always fascinated with wrestling. I mean, just in this small paragraph, you have major accomplishments and major notable events that occurred in this man's life that never get brought up when discussing his son, but the accomplishments of people who he is of no blood relation to, whose accomplishments pale in comparison to what was read in this paragraph are always brought up, that don't even begin to make sense. All right? So, but of course, these people, they don't, you know, they want to overshadow this, which don't even make sense. You want to talk about all these damn Samoans who didn't even want this woman to even get with this so-called black man. And that's disgusting. All right? So let's just go here to take a look at some of this man's accomplishments. Okay, look at all these titles. NWA Brass Knuckles Champion one time. 3-time Florida Heavyweight Champion. And, you know, he wrestled during a time where it was all about territories. So it wasn't like the WWE now or like the WCW was back in the 90s. This is during the 70s and the 80s where it was predominantly all about territories. So you was the man in Florida, then you would go and wrestle in Georgia, and you could possibly be the man in Georgia, then Memphis. You know, it was all territories or regional, right? So this was in championship wrestling from Florida. You know, 3-time Florida Heavyweight Champion, 1-time Florida Tag Team, 1-time Florida television team with a Puerto Rican, so-called Puerto Rican brother from the tribe of Ephraim Pedro Morales to pick up them tag belts. AWA Southern Tag Team Champion, Georgia Heavyweight Champion, Tag Team Champion, Macon Tag Team Champion, Mid-Atlantic TV Champ, Brass Knuckles Champ out there in Texas, Heavyweight Champ 2 times in Texas, Tag Team. I mean, just take a look at this record. None of this is talked about. And of course, the fact that he teamed with Tony Atlas to become the first ever black tag team champions in WWE, why isn't this talked about with The Rock and where he comes from? They try to overshadow being a black man. But it don't matter who his mother is. According to God, according to the genetics, he is who his father is, a black man. Numbers 1:18, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the 2nd month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers. Your pedigree, the house of your family, come from your father. So he is a black man from the tribe of Judah, just as his father, Rocky Johnson, a very accomplished and great man, a God in this earth. All right, as all the children and men of Israel are, according to the numbers of the named from 20 years old and upward by their polls. Job 8:8, for inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers, man. When you search out the Rock's father, you see that he is far more accomplished than any goddamn Samoan that they trying to, which is a heathen from the nations, the various nations of Japheth, that they're trying to connect this man to, man. This black Nova Scotian slave escapee liberated them damn selves, man, and became great. They don't talk about that, man, and that's what needs to be talked about. But see, this is why Zephaniah 2:1, gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. We are the nation that's not desired. That Samoan man didn't want his stepdaughter to marry a black man. They don't want to bring up all the great black accomplishments of the Rock's black family when he is a black man, because we are the nation not desired. That's why we're in a key time of gathering ourselves together through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua under our righteous and holy covenant, the Bible that God gave exclusively to us, black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. We are the Israelites of the Bible, man. All right, but I was just doing some research and reading on that, and I just wanted to, you know, speak on that and get this out to the people. With that, we give all praises, honor, and glory again unto the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, who the world innocently calls Christ Yahushua.